Picture this. A tiny, ordinary-looking coin slips through your fingers, barely worth a glance. Just 5 cents, something most people ignore or toss into a jar. But what if I told you that this same humble coin could secretly be worth millions of dollars? Not hundreds, not thousands, but life-changing, jaw-dropping millions, hiding in plain sight, traveling through everyday pockets, cash registers, and dusty drawers, waiting for someone who knows what to look for. The Canadian 5-cent coin, often called a nickel, seems simple at first. A small piece of metal stamped with a beaver, a quiet symbol of Canada's heritage. But beneath that simplicity lies a world of rare errors, historical mysteries, and collector obsessions that can transform a 5-cent coin into a treasure worth more than a luxury mansion. Imagine holding a coin you got as change from a store, only to discover it could pay off debts, buy houses, or even secure your future forever. That's the power hidden in some of these coins, and today we're diving deep into the fascinating story behind them, the rare variations that collectors chase, and how something so small can carry such massive value. The Canadian 5-cent coin has been around since 1858, originally made of silver before transitioning to nickel in the early 20th century, which is how it got its nickname. Over time, its design evolved, but the iconic beaver image introduced in 1937 became one of the most recognizable symbols on Canadian currency. While millions of these coins have been minted, only a handful hold extraordinary value, and the difference between a regular coin and a million-dollar treasure often comes down to tiny details. Details so subtle that most people would never notice them. These include minting errors, rare dates, limited production runs, or unique historical circumstances that make certain coins incredibly scarce. One of the most famous examples is the 1921 Canadian 5-cent coin, often referred to as the Prince of Canadian coin. While it may look like any other old nickel, this coin is incredibly rare because most of them were melted down when Canada transitioned from silver to nickel coins. Only a few survived, and today one of these coins can sell for over $1 million depending on its condition. Imagine that, a coin originally worth 5 cents now valued higher than a luxury car or even a house in some places. That's the kind of hidden treasure we're talking about. Then there are error coins, which are often even more mysterious and valuable. These are coins that were mistakenly produced with flaws. Maybe the design is slightly off-center, the metal composition is wrong, or the stamp was misaligned. While errors might sound like defects, in the world of coin collecting, they are often prized because they are unique. For example, a 1947 Canadian nickel with a dot near the date, caused by a minting issue during a time of transition in the British monarchy, can be worth thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Some rare error coins have sold for prices that rival the rarest collectibles in the world. The reason these coins can reach such high values comes down to supply and demand. There are millions of ordinary nickels, but only a few rare ones, and collectors are willing to pay huge sums to own something that almost no one else has. It's like owning a piece of history, a tangible link to a specific moment in time. And unlike digital assets or modern items, these coins have survived decades, sometimes over a century, making them even more special. Another fascinating aspect is condition. Two identical coins can have vastly different values depending on how well they've been preserved. A coin that looks worn and scratched might be worth only a small premium, while the same coin in near-perfect condition, what collectors call mint state, could be worth hundreds of thousands or even millions. That's why collectors handle coins carefully, often storing them in protective cases to preserve their value. What makes this even more exciting is that rare coins are still being discovered. People have found valuable nickels in old collections, inherited boxes, or even loose change. It's rare, of course, but it happens often enough to keep the dream alive. Imagine going through a jar of coins at home and finding one that could change your life. That possibility is what makes coin collecting so thrilling. The Canadian 5-cent coin also reflects the country's history. Changes in design, composition, and production often correspond to major events, such as wars or economic shifts. During World War II, for example, Canada temporarily changed the composition of the nickel due to metal shortages, creating unique coins that are now highly collectible. These historical connections add another layer of value, turning coins into storytelling objects that carry the past into the present. Collectors, known as numismatists, spend years studying these details. They learn to recognize subtle differences in design, lettering, and metal composition. For them, it's not just about money. It's about the thrill of the hunt, the satisfaction of discovery, and the appreciation of history. But even casual collectors or everyday people can benefit from this knowledge. Knowing what to look for could mean the difference between overlooking a coin and recognizing a hidden treasure. If you're wondering how to identify a valuable Canadian nickel, there are a few key things to check. Look at the date first. Older coins are generally more valuable, especially those from the early 20th century or earlier. Then examine the condition. Coins with sharp details and minimal wear are worth more. Finally, check for unusual features, such as errors or variations in the design. Even small differences can make a big impact on value. It's also important to note that not every old coin is valuable. Many are still only worth their face value or slightly more. But the possibility that one could be worth millions is what keeps people searching. It's like a real-life treasure hunt, where the prize could be sitting right in your pocket. The market for rare coins continues to grow, with collectors and investors alike recognizing their potential. Auctions for rare coins often attract global attention, with bidders competing fiercely for the rarest pieces. Some coins have sold for record-breaking prices, proving that even the smallest objects can hold immense value. In a world where most things are mass-produced and easily replaceable, rare coins stand out as unique and irreplaceable. Each one has its own story, its own journey through time. And among them, the Canadian 5-cent coin holds a special place, not just as everyday currency, but as a potential gateway to incredible wealth. So the next time you come across a nickel, don't dismiss it too quickly. Take a closer look. Check the date, examine the details, and consider the possibility that you might be holding something extraordinary. Because hidden among the millions of ordinary coins are a few rare gems, coins that started as 5 cents but are now worth millions of dollars, waiting for the right person to discover their true value. But what if I told you the story doesn't end there? What if the real shock is not just that these coins exist, but that some of the rarest, most valuable Canadian 5-cent coins may still be out there, quietly circulating, completely unnoticed, passing from one hand to another like any ordinary piece of change? Imagine a coin worth millions being used to buy a snack, dropped into a vending machine, or forgotten in a drawer for decades. It sounds unbelievable, almost impossible, but history has already proven that it can happen. There have been cases where rare coins were discovered in the most unexpected places, turning ordinary moments into life-changing events in seconds. Now picture this. A teenager helping clean out an old family home stumbles upon a dusty jar filled with coins. At first glance, it looks like nothing special, just years of spare change collected without a second thought. But among those coins is a single Canadian nickel, slightly different, slightly older, with details that don't quite match the rest. Curiosity kicks in, and after a closer inspection, something feels off. In a good way. That coin turns out to be one of the rarest variations ever minted. Within weeks, experts confirm it's authentic, and suddenly that 5-cent coin is worth hundreds of thousands, possibly even millions. That's not fiction, that's the kind of discovery that has happened before, and it could happen again. What makes this even more intense is the idea that many people may have already held valuable coins without realizing it. Think about how often coins change hands every day. Most people don't check dates or details, they spend them without thinking. Somewhere out there, a rare Canadian 5-cent coin could have been used to pay for groceries, handed to a cashier, and passed along again, its true value completely hidden. The thought alone is enough to make anyone look twice at their pocket change. But here's where things get even more shocking.